What's good, everybody? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. Many people messaged me last night concerning the Bill and Melinda Gates divorce. And I find this very interesting. Well, because they're Caucasian people, but how can one deny how Microsoft has made the lives of us so much better? I mean, as a young man, I grew up on Microsoft Word. I grew up on Windows 95, XP. I mean, right now, I'm still using Windows in my content creation business on all of our PC editing rigs, either here or in Uganda. We're still using something that Bill Gates allowed us to be able to do and stay in the business. If it was not for him, I don't know what I'd be using right now. So I mean, he's really made a way for so many of us, and I'm thankful for what he's done for the market. But amassing all of this wealth, he came from a really good family. His father was a tax attorney. His mother was a regent at University of Washington and a teacher. He was, already very wealthy when he got married to Melinda when he was like 38 years old. He didn't get a prenuptial agreement, didn't hide any of that. And she was actually working at Microsoft, and, he had did everything he needed to do before he met her. She had nothing. She was very bright, but she didn't contribute anything to his wealth. Okay, which might have been different with Jeff Bezos' wife. But in this predicament, 27 years later, $133 billion accumulated. Many philanthropy projects in the world. And it's still not enough. She files for divorce. Same thing with Jeff Bezos' wife, like 2 years ago, I believe, or a year ago. Files for divorce. Most relationships break up over money, but this is not the case. And I think for many of us who want to, possibly go through the marriage route, we look at somebody like Bill Gates, a man who's super successful, and we're always taught that if you could do things for your woman and you can provide for the community and stuff like that, and woman will stay with you. And these women are filing for divorce, right? Same thing with Dr. Dre's wife. I think if this can happen to him, I think what a lot of men are saying right now in the world today, there are two things that men are thinking about right now. Number one is money isn't everything. Can't be everything. I'm starting to really understand that now. Money is a tool. It's good, but doesn't mean that you get along. I mean, I've had a lot of money and been miserable. I'm in Poland right now, man. It's one of the most miserable times I'm having in my life because of the lockdown and the boringness of the city that I'm in. But also being with the right person or the wrong person. If you have the money and they're making your life miserable, or that person has changed, or that person isn't who you first decided to be with. People do change in relationships. People change in friendships, Where you were is not where you are maybe in 5 years, And after 27 or 30 years, you can't be where you are. And sometimes money just can't save that, right? And you look at the both of them, both of them, they came from great stock. I mean, I think she comes from Dallas, Texas. She went to Duke. Okay, she has a degree in computer science and economics, has an MBA from Duke. He went to Harvard, dropped out. So they both come from very prestigious families. They both had marriage families. Doesn't matter. And then what's going to happen, obviously, is he's probably going to lose half of the fortune, a fortune that she didn't help create. I think, when he has as much money as he does, he probably just doesn't care. And he's wants to give out all his money away once he dies anyway, if I'm not mistaken. But I think for the rest of us who will never make as much money as Bill Gates, I think, what chance do we have to stay married? I think we look at this situation and say, well, what do women really want? Can you predict what they really want? I mean, you think about being with someone for 27 years and then, at 65 years old, as Bill Gates, what do you do? I mean, a 65-year-old guy, you probably your stuff don't work like it used to. You and your wife are moving on. What opportunities? I mean, you still have a lot of opportunities, I guess, but what do you do from there? I mean, you spent 27 years of your life with this one person, and then going into your elderly years, where hopefully you would die with this person. You're now back on the market. It's amazing if you think about it. Like, I can imagine my grandparents getting divorced at age 65. She's 56 years old. But what opportunities, does she really have? Which is probably none. I mean, if you ask me, she's not a very attractive woman at all, but never has been. So then there's that. But you know what? A lot of times, man, a lot of guys that have a lot of money, doesn't mean that your wife's sleeping with you, man. Doesn't mean that your wife's respecting you. Doesn't mean that your wife is giving you what you need. And a lot of times, as men, there are certain things that we need from the relationship. Men want to feel appreciated, and there's things that we want the lady to do. And a lot of times when I see that women want to file for divorce, I would think that the man is actually wanting to stay in the relationship. Because men have a lot of money and time invested in relationships, but a lot of women don't want to continue doing what they did to get chosen. No romance, no sex, no affection for years and years on time. And I think a lot of guys would just I would pay anything just to get away. And I think that for many guys out there that are looking at what's happened to Jeff Bezos, obviously he's gained a lot of his money back already. I'm pretty sure Bill Gates will still be very fine. Dr. Dre, what incentive is it for you to marry a woman that hasn't built anything for you, and you have to give her half your money when she leaves? I think that's what a lot of guys are coming to, and I think in the future you're going to see a lot of men just not going this route. Very few. Very few. Very few guys want to be the one that has to be made an example of. Like, oh, she became a billionaire because I married her. She didn't have anything, and now she has everything. And I mean, this is the lady that got hired on at his company, and now is going to have half of the money from his company that he started. I think it's very interesting and also troubling at the same time. What do you guys think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. I really appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe, hit the bell, check out the first comment pinned to the top. And as you know, the buffoonery remains at an all-time high. I'm out.